Good morning. So my name's Tracy Hallock, and this is my emotional support animal, George. And we are here to welcome you to the Center for Spiritual Living Tacoma, both those of you in person and those online. We are so glad you are here with us today. Our musicians today are Rachelle LaNae on the cello, and our special musical guest is Sonny Joe Loudin. Our speaker today is Reverend Dr. Linda Reppond and Reverend Barbara Bew. And let's also take a moment to recognize all of the wonderful souls who are helping put on the service today. India Coy Grace, Ronald Edens, Angelina O'Connor, Susan Blake, Sherry Gilliard, Rose Palmer, Taylor Webb, Marge Pearson, and Franklin Gilliard. We are so grateful for each and every one of you. Yay! Please see your program announcements for important information about all the fantastic things that are happening here at CSL Tacoma. And for those of you joining us online, visit our website, csltacoma.org, and explore the heading, What We're Up To. Practitioners will be in the room at the back after service holding a prayer circle, so please join them if you are in need of prayer. If you're new today and comfortable raising your hand, I know we have at least one new person, a couple of them, a few of them. Please keep your hand up so we can say hello and give you a welcome packet. Inside this packet is a stain-connected card, and we invite you to fill this out and place it in the offertory plate later in the service. We also invite you to join us after service for refreshments and authentic connections. Okay, welcome everybody. The Center for Spiritual Living Tacoma is a peaceful, loving, and joyful spiritual community connected through a shared set of values, principles, and practices. We awaken and embody an understanding of our oneness with Source and all of life. We are committed to individual transformation, healthy relationships, and being a beneficial presence in our community and the planet. Our vision is to create a world that is thriving in harmony. Your presence makes a positive difference, and you are most welcome here. And now I'd like to invite Steve Potts up. He has an announcement.
Morning, everybody. My wife and I are excited. We've been working on this for a long time. We're having well, first of all, how many of you are concerned about the environment or climate? Okay. My wife is a doctorate, has her doctorate in environmental sciences. She's been teaching environmental sciences at Western Washington for about 15 years. We're having a workshop next Saturday at 10 o'clock in the morning. It runs for 3 hours. It's free, on climate consciousness and the cosmic self. We're going to be doing some exercises, and Gail will say a few things about what's going on, and we'll give you some ways that you can kind of change your thinking and change your life about consciousness. It starts at 10 o'clock. There are 2 ways that you can sign up for it. One, in the back, there are some flyers. You can take one of those. It has a QR code on there. Sign up that way. Or you can go on our website and sign up there. Again, it's 10 o'clock, runs for 3 hours. Next Saturday, we hope to see you all there. Here, excuse me, here, right down here.
Thank you, Steve. And now I'd like to invite Susan Blake to up here for her announcement. Up here.
Barbara, if you're watching online, this is for you. I cannot move it in front of the podium. So I am very excited to announce a new class. It is one of the history credits, so if you are on your practitioner track or you want to take core classes, this is a new history. It's called Ancient Wisdom and Science of Mind. And so we go back through some 6 different indigenous, tribal customs and practices that led to New Thought in general. And so we go through it looking at 4 different principles of science of mind, what we believe, the different tenets of what we believe are covered in it. And so we connect the dots. And it's a very exciting and enriching and deep class. It's only 6 weeks. I'll be starting it on May 7th. on Sunday mornings. I'm going to take that Sunday morning spot again because it's a good one. So 6 weeks, and sign up. It's going to be a good one.
Thank you, Susan. So, and now, just as everybody knows, we're doing Food for the Soul. We're in the middle of party signups. For anybody who's new or anybody who's forgotten, Food for the Soul is a really fun event. What we do is people volunteer. They sign up to host an event. They can do it at their home. They can do it somewhere else. We've had how to make gluten-free sourdough bread. We've had walks in the park. We have one this year is going to be yoga in the forest. You know, that just sounds great, right? So what we do is people offer to host these parties at their expense, and then you bid on them. We will be having an auction starting next month where everybody will bid on seats to the party. Then we have a whole summer full of events. So I've got about 8 of them signed up right now, but I have my calendar and everything with me every time I'm here. So if you want to see me after service, if you're interested in holding an event, I want to get about 20 of them. And I says we have 8 right now, so we're almost halfway, but we have like 2 more weeks to sign up. So if everybody wants to, even if you have an idea and you want to say, hey, what do you think? How can I make this a party? Great. Whatever you're interested in, just turn it into an event. We'll auction it off, and we'll have a great time. Okay, and now it's time for our minister's moment with Reverend Dr. Linda Reppond.
Thanks, Tracy. Thank you. Good morning. Thank you, Tracy. You know, Tracy signed on to be our volunteer coordinator not that long ago, and she's just wrapping her arms around all of us. We so appreciate you. I am just back from the CSL convention, and that was going on all week. We are very well represented there. You know, Drew says all the time, you know, Ty is the executive director of our international organization. Justin, our booth knot, is on the leadership council. They are having a weekend-long retreat of the Leadership Council, which our Drew is facilitating. So we're very well represented in the leadership of this organization, and quite appreciated. People are noticing that. Like, Tacoma's kind of showing up here. Like, yeah, we are. We're showing up. So, yeah. And Leslie is also out of town, I think on vacation. And since I've been coming here, I think this is the first time we've had church without them, without either Leslie or Drew. Maybe it's not the first time, it's the first time I remember. So I feel very trusted that they're going to let us do church, so we should behave a little bit. Sorry, we just got here. I want to just read some of the gratitudes from last week. For those of you that this is a tradition that back of the seat pocket in front that you have, put it in the offering plate. Drew will probably read it next Sunday. The flip side of it is a prayer request or a celebration. If there's something that you would like to share, to have our practitioners in prayer, put it on the other side of the offering plate when it goes by. Share your gratitude. Our wonderful yoga class, encouragement from my boss, and nice weather for Easter. The kind and wise practitioners at CSL. At first I was too shy to reach out, but nothing but love, non-judgment, and my best interest in mind. Can you hear me? Do I have to start over? All right. Should I use the handheld? Okay. New beginnings, spring equinox, more light, flowers blooming, and the opportunity to be here right now, feeling the spirit. My Lola cat of 20 years, she was the best girl ever. New opportunity to buy, own, and take care of a new home, to help heal the land and create a warm and welcoming place to share with those I love and care about. This one just says joy. Maybe for the Joy family that just showed up, just saying. Hugs no matter what. Reverend Drew gives amazing hugs. True that. A beautiful sacred walk with Reverend Matthew, which was yesterday, but it's a week ago, this yesterday. And nice weather for it. Other things to look forward to. the warm sunshine, reciprocal kindness, choosing to stay single and take myself out on dates, picnics, and to the movies, and get my own flowers. Abundance in many forms, and all the hugs. So, those are today's gratitudes. Let's just move into the sacred part of our service today, and our fabulous Rachelle LaNae is going to play cello for us today.
Good morning. Let us come into stillness together. Let every breath draw you deeper inside. Let every breath open you more fully. And with every breath, allow that energy, that divine energy, to seep into every single cell in your body, opening you, holding you, lifting you, and feeling complete openness to this, trusting that you are enough, that you are already a divine being. And in this trusting, in this knowing, you can bare your soul, because that is the way that we become bigger, more greater, more alive. And here is a safe place for that to happen. And so opening more deeply. And I say yes to this. Spirit is already present, in motion, making it all happen in each soul, in each heart, in everything around you, so till it vibrates with that energy. And I release it into that divine mind, into the heart of God, so to speak. And with that I say, and so it is. Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, there's a land that I heard of once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue, and the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true. Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me. Somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly, birds fly over the rainbow. Why, then oh, why can't I? Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find beyond the rainbow. Why, oh, why can't I? The practitioner and I can't help but say, yes, you can. Yes, you can. Choose it and do it. While that song was playing, I had this image in my mind that was persistent. And it was the rainbow over all of us. And the colors in that rainbow just kind of filtered down. And all of us chose what color we wanted, what color we were becoming. It's all possible. So I have a reading today from the book Undefended Love by Jet Ferris and Marlena Lyons, And it's a poem in here. And the poem was written by Jennifer Wellwood. Willing to experience aloneness, I discover connection everywhere. Turning to face my fears, I meet the warrior who lives within. Opening to my loss, I gain the immense of the universe. Surrendering into emptiness, I find fulfillment without end. Each condition I flee from pursues me. Each condition I welcome transforms me and becomes itself transformed into its radiant, jewel-like essence. I bow to the one who has made it so, who has crafted this master game to play in its purest delight, to honor its form in true devotion. Dominus tecum benedicta tu in mulier rerum benedictum fructus ventris Christi. Sancta Maria Santa Maria, Maria, oh, and pro nobis, nobis peccatoribus, nunc et in hora mortis nostrae. Amen. Santa Maria, Santa Maria, Nuria, oh, and pro nobis, nobis peccatoribus, nunc et in hora mortis nostrae. Amen. Amen.
How's this? Ooh, that's a little live. Okay, so we're going to do something a little bit different today. My friend Reverend Barbara Bew and I are going to do the talk together because that sounded like fun. But before we get started, I want to tell you a little bit about her. I've known this woman a long time, and she's been a minister a long time. For a number of years was a minister in Fort Collins, Colorado, which is where she still lives. And started, I think, in Long Beach, Namaste, yeah, Southern California. And then she worked at Home Office after that. And as the director of field services, which is the job that I would never want to touch, but because she works with all of the ministers, the churches, especially when they're in crisis, when there's a problem, that's when they call in field services. And she's really known as about the best listener in the movement. I just watched at the CSL convention this last week how many people were like, you saved my ministry, I wouldn't be here if you hadn't been there. There was a lot of that. She's very humble, so I'm going to say all this because she won't. What I liked, I'm in trouble. When I lived in Colorado, I was the head of youth ministries for Centers for Spiritual Living, and I liked to go to Fort Collins because more than any other minister in the movement at that point, Reverend Barbara was promoting youth and family in her church. Like, they were like all about the kids. And that's still kind of who she is. And you know me, that's my soft spot. So that's kind of like, anybody that can do that, that's one of my champions. All right. Get points for that. Yeah. And what's particularly interesting is after we agreed with Drew that we would do this, we looked at the topic, and the topic is on vulnerability, which Barbara calls a 4-letter word. So, vulnerability. We're going to talk about vulnerability together. All right. I think in our world, maybe not yours, but definitely in mine, being vulnerable is not something that I looked forward to. And depending on where you came from and what your family situation was, it may not have been safe. It may be, you got tough because that's how you survived. Maybe you just got quiet, but vulnerable did not feel like a safe place to be. And I'm a girl. Imagine, well, those of you that are men don't have to imagine that, but I know that for boys growing up into being men, especially, less so now than before, at least hopefully so, it was hard to be vulnerable. Tough is what you're supposed to be, Get out there and show them, toughen up. And, we all grew up needing therapy. I feel like my brain is hardwired around self-protection. And self-protection often looks like, to my lizard brain, what it looked like when I was 5 or 6. And I don't actually need that anymore. But I'm still, it shows up, the same things trigger me, and I get in some sort of self-protective mode. And what I want to live is with my heart wide open. Like, that's how I see vulnerability. It's like undefended, my heart wide open, ready to give and receive love. That's how I want to live on the planet. So to do that, I got to get through this defended thing and find a place of vulnerability. And I feel like I've been working on it a long time, and I'm incrementally moving. I don't know that there is a there to get to. It is a process that continues to unfold for our whole life. But it is a process that is pretty dang uncomfortable a lot of the time. But I just continually come back to, I believe it's worth it. I believe it's worth it. So let me just tell you a story. I have several, but I'll stick to one today because we're going to get out of here in time to have some lunch. When I first moved here a couple of years ago, and some of you I met not long after that, I was leaving a community where I had lived for not a huge long time, but I had a great support system and network there. And my husband had passed away a couple of years before. And I'd never moved anywhere by myself. I was, my younger days before Walter, I was living in communal, intentional communities and hippie communes and things like that. And then I've always had people with me. And I'm moving here, choosing my own apartment, my own neighborhood. I'm making it sound a little more alone than I was, because I have these kiddos who live here. I have a daughter in Olympia, I have a son in Tukwila. I got family. But they're busy, and especially now they got little kids. They're busy. So it wasn't like I could call them up and say, I don't feel like cooking. You want to go out tonight? Have you seen this movie? I want to go tonight. I got here, cute little apartment, and me and my dog just were there by ourselves. By ourselves. And now, you know how this story progresses, because I came here and I found you. And many of us have that story, this is where I found the connection that my heart was asking for. But there was a time in there when I felt like I was walking around without a skin, it just felt really raw, because I didn't know, and I was scared, and I didn't know what was going to happen, and I wasn't sure if maybe moving here wasn't a bad idea. maybe you know this, but I rate at about a 99% on the extrovert scale. I like to be around people. I like a lot of people. I have a big universe. I like a big universe. I'm like welcoming more all the time. Like that's how I like to live. So to be in a place where I spent a lot of the days by myself, just I'm a minister. I can do my spiritual practice. I can take my dog for a walk. I mean, I can fill up the time, but my heart was hurting, and I was really feeling vulnerable and fragile and not wanting anybody to know it, because I figured that wasn't how you make friends, like showing up like all needy and fragile and stuff. I don't know. All right. And so I would try to be brave, and then I couldn't be vulnerable, and then I wouldn't really show up as authentic anyway. It seemed like a bit of a vicious cycle, to tell you the truth. But what was happening for me was I was getting triggered into old losses, into experiences I had years ago that I never really healed. I mean, I just moved on from. I didn't really heal them. But I remember when I was 13, we moved from Louisiana to Eastern Washington, where I had a Southern accent. I thought that was totally embarrassing. They got teased about it. But I remember the weeks when I first got there of sitting alone in the lunchroom, of walking to school and back from school by myself. And it was like, and that's what it felt like to move here 60 years later. There it is, the trigger of the same old stories. And fear of not doing it right. Fear of like, in charge of all these things. I'm in charge of my money and my planning and my life circumstances. And I haven't done that without a partner for 45 years. So a lot of stuff is coming, just shows up in all of that. And yet the guidance that I kept getting in my inner work was undefended. Open your heart, I just be that old messy, snotty self you are, if that's what it takes. And somehow life moved on. I look back at it now and was like, was that just like a year ago? A year and a half ago, maybe? Wow, it does feel like it was a long time. But what is required, I think, to let people in is to show up fully. And the chasm between the contracted, scared self and the showing up fully takes courage. It just doesn't come easy. It just takes courage, and courage that I don't know that I thought I had, but what we can do and be, we know this here, is far more than we think we can know and be and do. And I think my work and our work is to feel into the vision of the more. Allow a vision of something I can't even quite wrap my head around now to guide me forward into the next step. And I don't see where it goes. I see the next step, maybe 2 steps ahead. I don't see a long path. I just not how I'm wired. But I have to have faith that this step will lead to this step, will lead to this step. And the steps to me are about being undefended, about just letting my heart be there, which sometimes just isn't pretty. Oh, well. Come up here and talk for a little bit, Barbara. Would you come up here? We were looking at a couple of quotes, and I think we got one here. Vulnerability sounds like truth and feels like courage. Truth and courage are not always comfortable, but they're never weakness. What do you think about that?
Well, yeah, I mean, you were talking about being undefended, but also like that we had to have this toughness, right? And I gotta say, in my experience, being vulnerable is like the toughest thing. Being willing to look at your shell and look at the places where you want to go crap shields up, right? And then still come forward anyway. That's an act of bravery and resilience and a willingness to be truly who you are, no matter who's around.
Where does that courage come from when you're feeling so contracted? Like how do you buck up? I know that's what it takes, but in the contracted place.
sometimes you said that you can see the next couple of steps, but you can't see the whole road, but you got to take the step. And when you take the step, you know, I mean, this is so old. The road rises up to meet you, right? We've all heard that. But it's actually true.
It's actually true.
That's why we keep hearing it, because it's actually true that it does. And I think, and there are moments that we have to do it alone. There are moments when we get to do it with people holding our hands. And hopefully, by being part of spiritual community, that we get surrounded by hand holders and people who will stand in the middle of the river with you.
It's almost like when I get uncomfortable, that's the time that I know, oh, change is about to happen here. I'm going to have to do something different. Because it's the uncomfortableness is actually what precedes the expansion.
And that's when you just say words I'm not allowed to say today on the stage. I warned Drew that, like, I have this thing that since I turned 60, I swear more and I always wear comfortable shoes. Which might have been true before, but nonetheless, that's when sometimes you just gotta say what you gotta say, right? I won't say it. So
Let's do the other quote. Moving on.
can you switch us?
Yep. This is an Ernest Holmes quote.
This is the wrong quote. All right. So without falling off the stage,
All right.
yeah. I want to endeavor to show you how you can become less limited. I say again, this will mean absolutely nothing to you. It is worthless unless you absolutely believe it. And not only believe it, but that you go right at it as though you had always known it and it had always worked and there was no possibility of failure because it had always worked. And that's where this faith thing comes in.
Absolutely. And it is an immutable law that the universe will show up to meet you, kind of wherever. And I've practiced it for more than 20 years, maybe 25, and I still have to go back to it over and over and over again, like, you really going to show up this time, universe? This is really going to happen this time? Because it takes, it is, being limitless is kind of hard, that's all. Just,
It's that paradox of science and mind.
yes.
It's first we learn and we teach and we talk about all the time how we gain control. We manage our thoughts. We can manage our life. We bring things into our life, right? We create our life in our mind, and then we start talking about surrendering. Right? These two totally, to me, they feel like very opposite places, and usually you have to get here before you can get here because this builds some sort of faith that you can surrender to something greater than yourself and to the pull within, and that the universe has that and also always has your greatest and highest good in its presence. And then there's this thing of being vulnerable, of surrender, of all of that, and knowing and trusting. And it's all very like, do I surrender or do I manage? Do I surrender or do I manage? And what is it? What is it? What is it?
Yeah, you know, I often start with manage and have to work my way to what I should have done in the first place. Surrender.
Surrendering?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why don't you talk for a while?
Why don't I talk for a while?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you do this with me? Just put your hand over your heart and say these words with me 5 times. Care, appreciation, gratitude, compassion. Care, appreciation, gratitude, compassion. Care, appreciation, gratitude, compassion. Care, appreciation, gratitude, compassion. Thank you. So I learned that from Greg Braden and the Heart Math Institute. It is actually a way that you can bring heart coherence to a room. So doing that together, what happens is like this energy field around your heart, which is quite large, it gets out there a little bit and blends with the people next to you and the people behind you and the people in front of you. So we're all in heart coherence now. How about that? It's easier than it sounds. So I do often have this very lovely experience of getting to live the thing that I'm going to talk about before I talk about it. And Linda mentioned this, she called me and she's like, hey, you want to do this thing? And I was like, oh, that'd be fun. That would be really great. And, I went to the conference last week and I'm hanging here for a few days and then going to this thing called Sister Spirit this week. So I've been vulnerable all the time. And then she said, yeah, the topic is vulnerability. And I said, oh. Because I've had some stuff this last couple of years. You go along, you think you got it all on track, and then things happen, right? Something just blows it all up. And I was going to tell you that whole story, and then I thought, no, really, it got me like sitting in that question, what is the most vulnerable thing for all of us? What's the most vulnerable thing for all of us? And it's love, right? It's always love. It's to put ourselves out there, to open our hearts, to be the most loving all the time, to be loved, to be the most compassionate, to be the kindest person in the room. Every single time can be a scary place. Because, maybe raise your hand if you've never had your heart broken or any kind of trauma or anything in your life. Okay, good. I'm in the right room. And yet, we all came through, didn't we? It changed us, it molded us, but we all came through in some way, each of us an incredible expression of the one life and the one mind, to be loving. And then to be at this choice. Do we become harder because of it, or do we let ourselves be softened by it? There's so many places, I don't know about you, but I look back at my life and there are so many places where hard would have been easier, it seems like. But then I figure, okay, here was this call that I, to do this thing where I'd live my growth in public. And becoming harder would have meant just getting cracked open a little harder, right? Because the cosmic 2x4 and I have been friends. But at some point in all of that, if we allow ourselves to be softened, then we get to learn to love ourselves like it's oxygen. And then we can love others more fully. See, in my mind, the single most annoying thing about spirit and the spiritual path, and yes, you can be annoyed with it. If you didn't have permission before, you have permission now. But the most annoying thing is that it always requires us to go first. It's even built into our language. It says, we say give and then receive. We say love and then be loved. We say give and then receive. We are always required to go first. And sometimes I really don't like that. I don't know about you. Because I'm like, if it could just prove itself first and prove to me that I'm going to be okay and prove to me that I'm safe, then I could dive in without actually feeling vulnerable, and that would be so much easier, right? So this quote from Ernest Holmes that we shared came from a talk that he did. And right before that one, he said this: there is only one thing that I ask of you, and that is that you will believe absolutely that this thing works. And he was a little older when he gave that talk, so I like to picture him like pounding on the podium. You just have to get this, because I'm not going to be around forever. Absolutely that this thing works. Believe first. What? Got to go first again? I have to believe first. But it has been proving it to me over and over my whole life that I'm going to come through, but I still don't believe it when it happens. And so we get to believe first and take the step to be softer and kinder and more compassionate and more loving, and to believe that we are safe. To believe that whatever happens or is happening in your life right now is somehow for your greater good. And I really don't like that one sometimes, because you are in the midst of and let me say this, if you're in the midst of a hard time right now, than all the arms of love and compassion around you. And please don't ever say this to somebody who's in pain in the moment. Oh, it's all, Spirit's got your back. It's all going to be okay. That is not the thing to say then, right? Every single time our life is hard, on the other side of hard is a greater knowing of ourselves and our walk with God. Every time. So I was going to tell you about all this stuff about my life, and I thought, you know what I really want to tell you about is my friend Norm. I've been talking about him, and I'm still, okay. So my friend Norm was the minister in Colorado Springs for a long time, and prior to that, at some point, he was a priest, of all things. But he had a really hard round with cancer. And kept working, kept doing his thing. We kept trying to get him retired. His husband and I and other friends, we'd be like, dude, you gotta slow down. He'd be like, nope. But they got his cancer. We thought it was all under control, that he was gonna be on this chemo thing forever. And then it came back. And at some point in all of that, he had told me a long time before that, we had this agreement that we would do each other's memorials. I don't know how that was gonna work out in the long run, but you know. That was supposed to be when we were old, so we had time, right? But this thing, it came back, and he decided it was time to go home with his husband and to let go and to surrender. And so I was able to be with him in those last days and to talk a bit, and then I watched him have people come in to say goodbye and to forgive people and love people and bless them and teach and continue to do what he was. He was a really amazing teacher of truth, and to keep doing that. And so I asked him one day in this, I said, so you have one more time to teach. I'll say what you want me to say. You have one more time to teach. What do you want me to tell everyone? I've watched you say and do all these things. What is the thing that matters the most? And this was in the place, I don't know if you've had the privilege of being with somebody who's in this process, but this was the place where, you know, he would talk a little bit, and then he would fall asleep. And then he would talk a little bit, and he would fall asleep. And I call it that in-between place. It's a very sacred place to be with someone. But when I asked him this question, he kind of looked at me, and he dozed for a minute, and then he came right back to it. And he started doing this, and I could almost see like this ball of energy in his hands. And he said, you know, what I know right now is that I only have time for love. He said, I could be angry, I could be frustrated, I could let some of these people, you know, Norm was a guy who could let his opinions be known, let me say that. And he's like, I could do all that, but I only have time for love, and that's what I want you to tell them. We only have time for love. And then he went back to sleep. And I didn't get to talk to him again. We believe that loving first is the most vulnerable thing that we can do, because our experiences have taught us that in some way, shape, or form, that we can be hurt and we can be harmed, and we can, and we have this place that's been lost. And you know, the what happened dance is very seductive and wants us to pull us out of, you know, when you hear that voice in your head going, but what could you can do, that's the can, and I don't want to do the can anymore. I want to be present and be who I am. Because is it really vulnerable if we actually already know that Spirit always has our highest good? And so if we put ourselves out there, maybe it'll be good. And maybe even if it's not good in this particular moment, it'll be good on the other side in some way. That after whatever happens, you know that you have shown up in this beautiful, loving place, and that you were surrounded by it, and you're going to be pulled through it, and we'll always find support, and most likely on the other side we will have learned something and peeled back something that serves our greater spiritual awareness. There's only one thing I ask of you, and that is that you will absolutely believe that this thing works. Because on the other side is a greater expression of you. And you, and you, and you, and oh, you over here. And the other side of that is always a greater expression of who we are. And it simply is, and we simply always get to go first. It's the law. And the world right now feels vulnerable and wackadoo. I don't know about, maybe you don't feel that way. I feel like the world is a little bit in a vulnerable place in an interesting way. And it's a mess, and it makes us feel vulnerable. But if we believe that this thing works, and we believe that greater evolution always comes from everything, and that we can believe, those of us in this faith tradition, we must hold to the truth and to the belief that what comes out on the other side of what appears to be chaos will be us as better humanity. It must be so. It just must. And we only have time for love. Yes? Yes. You want to pray with me? I'm supposed to do the prayer part. Am I doing the prayer part? Yeah. I have to go down here, though, because it's not enough room up there. And I don't want to fall off the stage. Because that would be vulnerable and embarrassing. Care, appreciation, gratitude, compassion. So in this moment, in this very moment of knowing that this container of love right here is expanding and expressing itself way beyond the walls of this gorgeous little building. And I know right here, right now, that each of us is divinely connected with each other, with Source, with Spirit, and that one life, one mind is having its way, working its way through each and every one of us. And in that is the vulnerable expression of joy out loud. In that is the vulnerable expression of love out loud. In that is this falling away of the idea of that anything can truly harm us, because we know that we are absolutely connected with this one life, one spirit, one love. And when we lean into that, we are absolutely shining beacons of it, whether we like it or not. We are shining beacons of that in every moment, no matter how we are on this little playing field we call life. And so I simply know today that each and every one of us can bring this beacon of love and light to all that surround us, and we are connected with every other person in every other church, synagogue, mosque, community, out in the trees, who knows right here, right now, that love is all there is, and it is wanting a greater presence in the world and in our life, and I call forth peace from that. I call forth peace and love and equity and kindness and compassion and enoughness for everyone. And I give thanks for this practice that keeps me grounded. I give thanks for these moments of togetherness that let me know and believe that it is true and inevitable that peace will prevail, that love wins, that love is the way and the truth and the light. It is, it simply is, and that we all get to play in that great field. And if you want to play, if you're willing to play, if you can set aside the fear of whatever it is that might be exposed within you and simply be exposed and be love, simply join me in saying, and so it is. Amen.
ask our ushers to come forward. And we get to practice the law of circulation. It's my favorite thing. And it's kind of what Reverend Barb just said. We give, we receive. We give, we receive. It's a circular thing. So we're going to bless all of this. Let's say it together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive with infinite gratitude. So it is. we're going to get to hear from Sonny Joe one more time after the closing prayer. But Kazi Bear, you want to come stand with me on the stage for this? You come stay with the Grammy Bear? Blessing these gifts to go forth and do good in the world for this community and beyond. Thank you. Thank you for your generosity. I think he needs a little stage time. Just come stand with me, and then you'll be really close when she sings, okay? Oh, you don't have to. It's all right. The stage is a little big, okay. Let's close with some prayer. And just returning to that space of wholeness, that sense of presence, the place where we know we are being breathed by something greater than ourselves. We just bask in that presence and allow it to be our only truth. We are made of that God substance, nothing less. It is our wholeness. It is our truth. It is true for me. It is true for everyone in this room. And it is true for everyone on this planet. We are each made of a divine substance. And as I remember that, it's easier to open my heart, to drop the guard, to drop the walls, and allow myself to be vulnerable. Because each person I'm looking at is the God in me, looking back at me. Remembering that as we go forward into this week, we are, from undefended love, only reaching out to the other me that we happen to be looking at. So let's go bless the world. Absolutely. Let's go bless the world. Thank you, God. And so it is.
This is a song that I wrote. It's kind of about coming through hardships, and don't forget that you can never steal the light of the moon. She glows on her own in her heavenly throne, in a silvery floating balloon. And the raven decides to committing the crime, to steal the light from the moon. The owl winks and I am with a shred of a cry to proclaim that the raven's a fool. And as the raven takes flight like a thief in the night, blinded by la luna and the moon, he is blinded by the light of the moon. The owl gets a thrill as she dives for her kill. The raven that moment confused, and as he takes his last breath, in that moment he jests that she just stole his life. But you can't steal the light, no, you can't steal the light from the moon. Bathe in the night in the light of la luna, forever in bloom.
decide whether I'll steal the night, but I can't steal the light from the moon. As a nocturnal magic and twilight sits in, I am filled with a sorrow and memories of him. And I beg you, LaNae, to give him a clue, 'cause he can't steal my light. No, you can't stake my life, and you can't steal the light from the moon. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you. Wow. Stick around for some coffee and connection. If you're new here, you'll find us one of the friendliest crowds you've been around in a long time. And if there's something heavy on your heart, practitioners are available in the back for prayer. Avail yourself. It's worth it. And as Tiny Tim would say, God bless us, everyone.